Welcome to EntreProgrammers Podcast, the podcast for developreneurs, the podcast where you get to be a fly on the wall listening to real conversations of three developers trying to tackle the challenges they face as entrepreneurs.
I think we're live.
You have to
That was
do it
quick.
in John's voice, though. And we're live.
Chuck, you're coming through the wrong mic again.
What?
You sounded great for about 10 seconds and now.
Yeah, I
Not
just
so much.
switched it.
So I got all moved. I am here. I am partially unpacked. This was Manny emailed me and said, yeah, moving's always about 3 times more work than you think it is. And that's about right. I thought it was my wife. I thought it was going to be about twice as hard as my wife thought it was going to be. And it was about 3 times harder than I thought it was going to be. So
That's funny.
It's so bad,
man, right now, and she told my sister, yeah, I could pack up all my stuff in a couple hours because she doesn't have that big a place.
yeah.
And we got rid of a lot of stuff. We either took it on or got rid of it for her when my dad passed. She's like, yeah, I'll do it in a couple hours. And I looked at my sister. I said, try a couple of days.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm going to be about to sit back on. So yeah, but it's the same thing, right?
Yep.
It's such an it's the same thing, right? With any project you take on, we tend to underestimate how much time it will take. And moving is one of those beasts, man. Like once you start, you realize you have so much stuff. You're like, where the fuck did all this stuff come from? I never knew it was there.
Well, what's killing me now is like there's so many customizations that you make to a space when you move into it, and just to get functional. Like we brought our washer and dryer in and put them in the laundry room here, and it has one of those little it has a little well like a dam or something around where the washer and dryer are supposed to sit, which is nice in theory, except our washing machine does not fit into the well. So I had to go to Home Depot and get cinder blocks and like prop the thing up. And now the stupid lid hits the cabinets. So I'm going to have to do something about that. Yeah, it's like there's so many little things like, and our dryer had a 3-prong cord. And because our old home was built before 1999 and this house was built after 1999, they upgraded to a different plug. So I had to go to Home Depot and rewire my dryer just so I could have underwear,
Yeah. It's so retarded, man.
We don't need underwear. We only see your top half.
That's true. Just so I've got a shirt that looks presentable, I guess.
There you go.
Doesn't have to be washed, even if it's stinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll melt the microphone.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I thought for some reason I would be able to get a little bit of work done last week, and I did nothing other than literally. I mean, so I was going to try to just write my daily email every day, and I did that on Monday and Tuesday, and then Tuesday was the day we closed, and after that, there's nothing happening.
You closed last Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys moved right off as soon as you closed, more or less.
Yeah, we closed on Tuesday, and then we moved some stuff on Tuesday, and then we had the movers come on Wednesday and brought the truck over, and we only moved 5 miles away from our other house, so it's not.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not a big long trip, but
Nice.
Hey, at least like with my mom's move, there's all this family drama around it. So at least you don't have to deal with that.
yes.
Right? We're just moving our crap.
Yes, there was zero family drama other than what we brought upon ourselves with the kids. So, man, trying to move with 3 kids was not easy. They were just running around like into everything, and like, everything you own is out in boxes, and they're like unpacking you. You're packing it, and they're like pulling the stuff out. What's this? What's this? What's this? Oh my gosh. So I don't plan on doing this again for a very long time.
I know. It is amazing. And it also kind of shows you the importance of like minimizing the stuff you have.
Yes.
Right? Because it's like, it's almost like you need 20% of what you think you really need.
Yes.
You got to keep throwing away stuff, almost like what Marie Kondo talks about in the book, The Magic of Tidying Up. It's like constant battle to stop it.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting too. I mean, tying this back to more general life lessons, it's, we're talking about, I thought it'd take me a day or two, and it took me, all week or something. And yeah, it's that kind of thing I found with like software projects and business projects. It's not the stuff that, how do I put it? Like, it's all the stuff that I think about. That's the stuff that I'm planning for. And then the rest of the stuff is all the stuff that I didn't realize I had. And same with a lot of these other projects that I wind up taking on, is that, there's some aspect of, the extra baggage or the extra stuff that I didn't account for because I didn't realize I had it. Or the software projects where, there's all this history for the client or the customer or the employer as far as, how they think about these problems. And I'm just coming in and saying, oh, I just have to move this pile of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Probably a third of the stuff that we moved was sentimental.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably true in any project, right? There's and that's the hard stuff. It's emotional baggage, basically.
Yeah, I have a ton of stuff that I never look at, never pick up, never really do anything with, and I'll never get rid of it because it means something to me one way or the other.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think before I left for India, I probably got rid of 10% of my house, and it still feels like I could get rid of another 50% and it'd still be okay.
Probably.
Yeah, it's like so much shit there. Now, continue to do that. I should do it every couple of months, but that's probably not fast enough.
I have a running Goodwill box that is just, I'm always putting stuff in there. I probably at least once a month or so, I take a moderate sized box of stuff, just anything. I really like to upgrade things versus buying new stuff. So if there's something that I use all the time, I'd rather spend money to get the nicest possible version of that versus just adding more clutter.
Yeah, I agree. Good quality rather than.
Yeah. But I mean, for me at least, even the stuff that I look at and I realize I don't need it, it still takes an emotional toll to sit there and figure out if I would need it, and then figure out, if I'm going to keep it where it goes, or figure out, I might throw it away. And so it's not like it's free, right? I mean, at the end of it, you might feel a little bit, I guess, more relaxed, more open, more something. But, so you feel better about it, but the process is taxing.
Yes. The worst way to go about it is what I usually do, which is go into a room and take everything out of all the closets and everything and throw it in the middle of the room and then sort through it. Because usually by the time you get that big pile, and that's about the time you run out of enthusiasm for the project.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think one of the things I've learned from my moving is that anytime you're trying to improve something, there is this period of time when things have to break down or things get really messy before you. So you cannot go from clean to clean without having mess in between.
Yes.
Yeah. You cannot go from clean to ultra clean without mess in between. It's not possible. So something I struggled with initially with all this, hey, let me just clean my place, and suddenly it's a freaking mess. I was like, what the fuck? I thought I was supposed to clean and now I have a mess here. It's the same with trying, with business as well. Whenever you're trying to go from one step to the next step, and you think one step of clean to the next step of clean, suddenly you made a mess. Suddenly you created a mess, and you're like, but that's the only way.
Everything's broken.
Yeah. Cool. We got our emails ready, or what's the deal?
Not ready, but I've got. I'm gonna reuse the emails from last time for the most part. So I've got two emails. Well, I've got I think 2 or 3 emails that I can reuse pretty much as is. The one for tomorrow, the kickoff email. So we're doing just the backstory here. We're doing we're going to rerun the productivity offer that we did last December for Manny's. Yeah, Manny's productivity. Well, it was 2x productivity. Now it's 10x productivity. So I'm going to get people emailing me and saying, "Is this the same program? I'm confused." I'm going to try it, Manny. We should probably
don't email it to people who've already gotten it. If you want
I
me
know.
to
I was going to say,
also.
could you send me? Let's do an updated list. And I mean, if you would trust me to do this, I can. If you send me your entire customer list, I can just whitelist the whole thing. Because what I can do is I can upload to Drip and tell it to tag people that are already in my database. So that might be the cleanest way to do it. So anybody that's on your list, because I'm sure we've sent quite a few people your way at this point. So
right. So I will send you the list of people who are on the
basically people, who've already bought 10x productivity or 2x productivity or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't want them getting confused.
So we're going to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to rerun that promotion. And Manny's got some upsells in place this time, so we'll be able to kind of compare. This will be an interesting before and after also, because we'll be able to see how the audience responds now that these are going to come from me.
There's so many variables. I was thinking about it. Initially I was like, hey, this is just upsells and this should do much better. But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's so many variables this time around because it's a new list. You know what? Like there's a lot of different lists as well right there. And it's now coming from Josh instead of John. So that's a new variable. And then
also the time of year. Last year we did it like right before the new year. So
productivity, goal setting, all that stuff is top of the mind. Also, the other thing is like the upsells. Like last time, the upsell video was John's video. John was the one who sold the upsell, in the sense he was the one who created a 2-minute upsell video. Now this time it's all me with the upsells. So that's also a very different, trust point as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this does. Hopefully way better than what we did last time.
Yes, I'll be interested to see. We're also going to run it for 3 days instead of 2.
Yeah.
So
how many emails are you thinking?
I'm going to do 4. So
oh wow. So lesser emails but more days.
Last time it was kind of less email. It was 5 emails last time, but one of them was just a link to the video, which did nothing. Like no one clicked on it. So
I agree.
So it's roughly the same, but longer, a little bit of a longer duration. Or I mean, unless you want to compress it down, we could do that too. So
no, whatever works for you, whatever you want to try out, whatever you want to experiment with, I'm all good with that, man. I don't know how I have no idea how 4 days will do compared to, 3 days will do compared to 2 days. It's probably a good test.
Yeah, I think it's my tests that I've done. I think it's about the same or like very close. So shouldn't be a huge difference. But I thought I would try it.
Last day's 2 emails.
Yeah.
One towards the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the way it's going right now, I've got my upsells in the funnel. I've got 2 upsells in the funnel. The third one I'm working on right now. A few things that need to be tweaked. Then the upsell sales pages, the videos are ready. Need to get the upsell sales pages finally plugged into this funnel. Really, that's about it. So hopefully, what time is the email going out tomorrow morning?
I do them at 10:30
Eastern.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
let's I should have everything ready by then. And if for whatever reason I feel like one of the upsells is not ready, that's fine. I'll just continue to work on it and plug it in tomorrow whenever it is ready, because I don't want to change any timelines as a result of this.
Cool. So what are the upsells? We've got
Okay, so I have never procrastinate again.
Okay.
5-step process to kill procrastination.
And that's the in-cart bump?
No, the in-cart bump is another set of book summaries.
Okay.
Because it's really hard to sell mental toughness book summaries at a later time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's not, I mean, it's a very different upsell now. Suddenly, like, hey, we're talking about productivity. Now we're talking mental toughness. But book summaries, I'm going to try that bump right away.
Okay.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that works too. I haven't tested it. But last time we tested this, we had the mental toughness book summaries, and then in the bump was productivity book summaries, and we had around 25% uptake on that. So I'm assuming we can get somewhere in that region, though mental toughness is a harder sell than productivity. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I might have to.
The other thing about the mental toughness clicks was that was a more filtered list, I think, because there were fewer people. Remember how many fewer clicks we were getting? It was like a third or something. So it was kind of the cream of the cream.
Yeah, it's true too.
There. So I would expect that 25% to be lower this time.
Yeah.
But still be good.
Yeah, it would be probably lower.
Is that a $29 offer or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So first, the front end is $29, $69 to $29. The second, the upsell is also $29. Not the upsell, the bump is also $29. The upsell, I'm thinking of still continuing with $29 for a couple of them and $47 for the last one. So the first one is never procrastinate again. The second one is double your productivity by 5 p.m. tomorrow. So that one, so these two were the ones in my list that performed the best. When I sent out a survey saying, hey, which ones do you want? These actually double your productivity by 5 p.m. tomorrow was the winner. And never procrastinate again, 5-step process was second. They were pretty close, but double your productivity by 5 p.m. was clear winner. So both of these will be back-to-back upsells. And then after that is a meditation course.
Okay. What's the price point on the first two?
So I'm right now doing 29, 29, and 47. So
okay.
So product, the first front-end product is 29, then the upsell one is 29, the second upsell is 29, and the third upsell is the meditation program is 47.
Okay.
Unless you guys have ideas. I mean, I've sold the meditation at $500, so it's kind of ridiculous at $49, but then they don't get the life coaching component of it that they got.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, I would say that we could potentially raise those.
Okay.
But we might want to just wait and see how it's performing. I mean, you're pretty comfortable and good at tweaking things on the fly. Manny is like the king of cowboy coding with funnels in the midst of launches. So I need to steal myself for the barrage of text messages, I'm sure.
You don't. Here's the thing. You're free to not respond to those things, but the testing will be going on in the background.
Right. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can. I mean, whatever. Yeah, I can't guarantee this week anyway what I'll be able to respond to, but tweak away. But yeah, I would say if anything, you could potentially raise those. I would be inclined to say make the upsells like 49 and then 99.
Okay.
So they're because at this point you're already getting. I mean, usually what I've done is, you're selling. It's like everything steps up as you go. Yeah. Kind of like, I've upsold like $5, $49, $199, and it worked.
Oh, nice.
So I mean, so it can jump up because they've already made it
on those.
The uptake
on the
rate
199
on
from 5.
the 5 to 49 was like 12%, and then from there, I think it might have been 7%. I forget. I need to look, but that was the blogging course. Then 10 ways to make money with your blog, and then how to market yourself as a software developer. What's that sequence? So yes, you can do that. My
metric is really simple. Like the reason why I do these crazy tests all the time once the launch is live is because I'm I just look at the EPC numbers. I straight up look at the EPC numbers, and I continue to tweak everything to get the EPC as high as possible. I'm not trying to do anything else. I'm not getting any fancy with any other metric. I'm looking at EPC and say, okay, screw it. Let's do one more test here. Let's do one more test here. Right. And that's how we settled on the $29 price point. We tried all sorts of things. And at EPC, it was always beating everything. Like John forced me. John literally was like, John was at my place that day, like for, because we were going to this Pat Flynn meetup just, I think right around that time. So he was like, all right, let's try. He was like, okay, so, what we tried 49 initially. And then he's like, all right, because I was like, man, let's just go to 29. He's like, let's try 39 first. So for an hour, we tried 39 before we left for for the Pat meetup, and that didn't really do well. So in terms of EPC, so I was like, all right, go back to 29. He's like, no, let's try 19. So he was like, oh, okay, 19. So we tried 19. Then at some point, he also made me go all the way to 9. And none of the EPCs were anywhere close to what you were getting. I think, we did 9, maybe not. None of the EPCs were anywhere close to what we're getting with 29. Yeah. So we stuck with that, and now it's like the price point that works. And not only that, like then I tried to tweak with the bump as well, and then with the upsell as well. And again, like there was one EPC, like wherever the EPC was settling, I was like, all right, screw it. So I have a few point. What do you think of the bump? Should the bump be higher or the same?
If anything, I would say lower. I'm hearing myself coming back. Let me know if that gets better.
I heard you too.
Figure something out. If anything, I would say lower.
Lower or same, I guess.
Yeah, lower or the same. Yeah, because that's like an impulse buy, right? That's the candy bar. That's the candy bar at the checkout is really what that's meant to be. So, and I think that's how it would be most effective.
Okay, I'm going to leave it the same then, because I don't I don't want to now confuse it with a lower offer. In the sense, create a lower offer for them.
Right. So so we've had this conversation before, but I'll reiterate it here just for people who might be listening. So the one thing about tweaking the EPC with a campaign like this is that the people that end up buying at the end, it's a little deceptive because the people click multiple times. Like there are people that will click every email. Yeah. And then buy at the end. Yeah. And so it's kind of it does build a little bit over the course of and I think it's mostly just to me it seems like it's mostly not so much that the multiple emails are for like persuading people. It's more that they wanted it right away, but they just didn't pull the trigger, and the constant reminders keep it in front of them, and then as the deadline comes, that's when they grab it. Yeah. That really seems to be the pattern that I've observed. And like most of the people that bought, I think like I went back and I figured out like, okay, this is really hard to do, but I was able to figure out like which emails how many emails did the buyers open? And over 50% had opened at least 3 of the emails. Mm-hmm. And most of the buyers, this was during the mental toughness one, most of the buyers for that package had opened the first email. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's like, you're kind of, I think that for the most part, what you're doing with these promotions is catching people at the right time where they're thinking about this issue. And you're there, you show up with the offer in front of them. And like the ones who, I've seen this with the JavaScript promotion we did too, where it was like, if they opened an email with the word JavaScript in the title, they were going to buy. It didn't matter that I'd spent 7 emails trying to persuade them to learn JavaScript. Yep. It was like the ones who wanted to learn JavaScript were the ones who bit, and the ones who didn't care, they weren't gonna buy. So
being in front of the right people at the right time is like, that's one of the things that email marketing is so it teaches you all the time. Like you can just hit them at the right time. They are aware suddenly. Like that's the moment when they are like, I want it, come in. Until then, they're just like.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird for a copywriter to say, but I'm like, these days I'm like less and less about like trying to figure out the exact right things to say, and more like it's just, it's the consistency and just showing up constantly and building some trust. And then, people will, if what you have to sell fits with their plans at the moment, then they'll buy it. And if not, then get them next time.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. By the way, so is this list any different size this time? I'm assuming it's so
yeah, it's so okay. So what I'm planning to do is it's 100,000. Well, it's like 96,000 people.
Mhm.
When we email to the entire list, let me tell you what the open rates look like right now. When we email to the entire list, so last week our links email that went out to 80,000 people, got 17% open rate.
That's not bad.
So what I've been doing, I've been sending my daily emails to a segment that is a more active segment, and that has been getting around 30 to 31%.
How big is that segment?
38,000 people. So my best email recently was a ton of fun to write. The subject line was "feeling like an ass," and it was about this. In Egypt, there's a zoo that painted a donkey to look like a zebra. And so I talked about imposter syndrome. This email got a 2.7% click-through rate, which is like by far the highest that I've seen in a long time. So I'm definitely going to want to do something about imposter syndrome at some point. It was a fun email to write. It was like it wrote itself, it was like the subject line wrote itself, I saw the story and I was like, oh, okay, write about that one. But yeah, so what I'm going to do with this one, I think, is I'll send an email to the entire list with the productivity headline, and then I'll probably only send the subsequent emails to the active segment and the people that opened the productivity email.
Maybe the first and the last ones go to everyone, because the last one is like such a
I might do that. I think I tried that one time and I found that it was only the people that opened that first email that actually bought. So but yeah, that way I don't because I send a lot of emails and I have a cap in Drip. It's like 2.5 million emails. So I do have to watch that, believe it or not. Every month I have to watch.
What happens at that point?
They just charge me more money. They send an email and say, "Congratulations, we've increased you to the next highest pricing plan," or they say the next cheapest pricing plan. So I'm like, "Oh, okay, well that's fine. If it was more expensive, I'd be upset. But since it's the next cheapest plan,
If that is the only thing that's holding you back, I will write the check for that.
No, it's not just that. It's more like I found it to be completely ineffective, and I think that the tighter sends, I feel like they get a better engagement. So
yeah, it's fine. You said you're not gonna send to any of the non-opens, or only to your engaged list after that?
I think I'll send to the engaged list plus the opens after that.
Got it.
So.
Got it.
But when anybody, the engaged threshold is fairly low. So if they open and click, that might kick them over into the engaged segment.
So that's like you said around 37,000. That's the list. That's the engaged list.
38,000. Yeah. I think when we did ours last year, I can tell you actually.
Like 38,000. Oh yeah, I'd love to see what the numbers were last time.
More like So, I saw something. So when I just clicked in the search drop down for Drip, and I got all these autocompletes come up. And today I was getting irritated by that, so I was looking for a way to clear them out. And I found there's a Stack Overflow post about this guy, and he said that he one time he was on some site and he typed boobs in the search engine, and it was like a spoof site or something that he was on. And so, but he uses this laptop for client presentations, and so every time he goes to, it's like starts auto completing anything, it's like boobs is the first thing that comes up, and he's trying to figure out how to delete this. And then And then now his question is the number one result for how do you delete autocomplete answers. So now he's like forever memorialized. He wanted to
Forever
delete
the
boop.
boob guy.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Oh, jeez.
All right.
Josh
so
has
let
the
me
best
see.
stories.
Let's see here. Okay, so the first email went to 37,000. So yeah, I think we had about 65,000 people on the list back then, but I didn't send it to everybody. So actually, this will be a much more engaged 37,000 than last time. So roughly same size, but
Same
pretty
reach.
different. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So, well, we'll see what happens. So a big chunk of these people are Sublime productivity. Now that I think about it, Sublime people that came over. So, they will be the people that know John primarily will be probably less likely to buy from me, but the Sublime people will probably be more likely to buy from me. So who knows? Anybody's guess.
This is interesting. This is a very different. How come? Hold on. So last time it was Simple Programmer list. That was the engaged list, and now it's a Sublime list. That's the engaged list.
No. The Sublime list is people that know me.
Okay.
Because they came in. I've been sending them emails for years.
Yeah.
So there was about 39,000 people from the 187,000 that I started with from my contest.
Oh.
So it's like that's like a very condensed version of that list. And then I pull them over here. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah.
We can split it. Oh, my kids are coming in. So now I have an office that's upstairs with a door. However, so is their bedroom. So I didn't realize this is a mixed blessing. They're really cute.
I could have told you about that.
Yeah, I know. I've seen little heads poking your door, Chuck.
Yeah, well, and my office is upstairs, and so are all the bedrooms. So,
all right, I'm gonna mute here and go lock my door.
Yeah, I have that problem while he's locking his door. My 2-year-old, she's almost 3. She'll be 3 in November, and she figured out how to open my office door. And so yeah, so now I have to lock it when I come in here because she'll come to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I'll be recording a podcast. Daddy? Like, so I have to mute, and then I'm like, get out! So, yeah. Anyway.
So Chuck, what's going on in your world?
Well, I swear, like every time I get in to get stuff done, something comes up, so this whole mess with my mom's house is just throwing me for a loop. And so I'm trying to figure out how to balance all that without having to work late. And I don't know if there's a solution. So that's one frustration. And then I've got a couple of other things that I wanted to kind of run by you guys to see what you thought. So
sure.
No ideas on the...
You might want to enroll in our productivity program.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, sure.
If you could 10x your productivity, Chuck, that would really solve problems.
Then I would work a 4-hour work week, right?
Exactly. Here we go. From 40
go.
hours to 4 hours. That's 10x productivity. How cool is that?
Actually, it'd probably look more like a 60-hour work week or a 6-hour work week. Anyway.
6 hours work, man.
No, it's true. I think I do need to just remove some of the distractions.
So are you're selling your mom's home then because your dad passed away and you're moving her out?
The short version of a long story is that they were renting that house, and the people who were living in it decided they wanted to buy it, but they couldn't get financing. So my parents did a rent to own. Okay. And the rent to own was up in July. And so the plan was for them to they were either going to have the house purchased according to the agreement, or they were going to evict the people who were living in it, clean up whatever they had to clean up, and then sell it.
Oh, okay.
Now we're doing that anyway. We're just doing it without Dad. The flip side of that is that Dad was the one that was dealing with them on a regular basis because they were a total pain in the ass. So now my brother's dealing with him, and my brother's a total pain in the ass, so it works. Not to us, but if he doesn't like you, he's a pain in the ass.
There you go.
Anyway, so that's getting handled, but it turned out that there's probably $30,000 worth of damage to the house that we have to fix before it's sellable. And my grandmother passed away in December of 2016. And so my mom got like $80,000 in inheritance. And so she has the money in the bank to fix the house. And then what we're hoping is that she can sell it for enough to recoup that $30,000 plus, they had like $100,000 in equity in the house.
Okay.
And so if she can sell it for what I think she can sell it for, I think she can come out of it with at least $90,000. And then she can go buy herself a place wherever she wants to be. Because she was renting the place she was living in, the place we're moving her out of tomorrow. So she's just moving back into that house and fixing it up for a year and then selling it.
Okay.
And the family drama centers around the fact that 5 of my siblings are moving in with her to help her cover the mortgage.
Oh, wow.
So they're all going to pay rent. And so there's been a little drama around who's helping who move and when and how and what rooms people get and all that garbage. So thankfully, I don't have to be in the middle of any of that except for the moving bit. But that's been no fun. So
Movers, Chuck. Movers.
I know.
I paid $900 to move my whole house, and it was like the best money
totally
I
worth
could have spent.
Yeah. Anyway,
that.
so that's pretty much that. But anyway, I've got the introduction and most of the first chapter written for my book. And I'm working on, my goal is to write 1,500 words a day. And I don't know if that'll get me done in time, because I promised people it'd be out by Labor Day. And so people might get like a roughish draft of the book on Labor Day, but it'll be complete. And then, then I can just clean it up and release version 1.1 or something. So
when is Labor Day again? I can never remember. It's like
September. It's always the first Monday of September.
Okay.
So anyway, in the meantime, I have a pre-sale page up if people go to devchat.tv/shop.
Okay.
I set up Woocommerce and Woocommerce membership. And yeah, so you can buy it now. And it's 50% off what I'm going to sell it for in September.
Okay.
So,
let me see.
How much is it?
So the book is $12.50 and the course is $250, and those are both the 50% off prices.
So you're selling it already. Nice. I like it. The course also you're selling it?
Yeah, I'm pre-selling both.
Okay.
So I'm just letting people know, hey, it's a pre-sale. You're going to get it as I finish it.
Have you made any sales yet on the book?
I really haven't promoted it. I need to send it out to my email list. I think I'm probably going to put Michelle on the case and have her start looking up, what do you call it? Boot camps, and reaching out to the boot camps and just saying, hey, look, let your students know we're doing a pre-sale, right? And that way they can get it for half off and then have it there and ready to go when they graduate.
Well, I mean, your list is big enough, right? How big is your list now?
It's 15,000.
Yeah. Why not promote it to the list?
Yeah, I think I will promote it to the list.
You're going to, right?
I should do the boot camps afterward.
Huh?
Should I promote to the boot camps after the pre-sale ends then?
Well, here's the way I think about it, or I'm sure Josh has some ideas as well. But you go through your email, you try to sell it to your email, and depending on that outcome, you scale this, right? So first you want the feedback from the email list as to, do they really want this, whatever you're selling? Once you get that feedback, now you are, now you're free to go and sell it to other people. Because if you get good feedback, it's time to scale. But if you get bad feedback, it's time to go back and, return their money and say, hey, this wasn't really what you guys wanted. What would be a better thing?
Right.
And you got to get that feedback from the list. There's no other way to get that feedback. I don't think so. maybe trying to sell on your podcast would be the other way to do it.
Yeah.
But I think selling is not so much, at this stage, the selling is not so much about making money as it is about learning what the list wants, what people want.
Oh, that makes sense.
So when we did the book launch for the career guide, I did reach out to not podcasts, to boot camps, and we were able to get one or two of them to do a little promotion for us, but
Right.
for the most part, like they kind of already had some like kind of job training incorporated into the program. And so I wasn't able to get, I wasn't able to get like as much traction there as I'd hoped.
Right.
What I think could work would be going to them and offering to do a webinar or something.
Oh yeah.
Because then you're giving them something custom that's just for their audience.
Right.
Right.
No, that
and
makes sense.
Yeah, and you can, because otherwise it's like they're gonna be like, well, what's in it for us? Like, why should we? I mean, I guess their students would potentially benefit, but there's no like direct benefit for them other than the warm fuzzies. So
No, that makes sense. Because if I do a webinar for their people, then they can promote it to their list and things like that. And then they bring in people who are looking to get a job in software development, even though they haven't gone through a boot camp yet. And so they gain a little bit of status through that, and I can do the sales pitch at the end.
Yeah, and I would be clear, if you're going to do that, I would be clear that you are going to talk about your product. Usually what I would do in that kind of case is be clear that you're going to, it's like an informational webinar, that it's not just, the whole thing's not just a sales pitch.
Right. Yeah.
Because there's that kind of webinar. There's like the 75 minutes of my life story and pain and suffering and buy my product type of webinars.
Yeah.
And then there's like content heavy webinars. So I would just be clear that that's what you're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be all content.
Right.
And 10 minutes selling at the end or something.
Yeah. So, but I don't think you're going to get like free promotion out of them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just for asking. So.
Yeah, but if I do a dozen webinars with them and I'm able to sell to their audiences.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, before that, you've got to sell to your own audience to see what the numbers are so that they know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there.
To do webinar and stuff, whatever sales channel you use with them, try to use it on yours first so you know what the numbers are.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yep. But I mean, I think that probably your best, like once you do the initial launch, probably you could definitely do a dog and pony show type of webinar where you go around to different, because this would apply to like almost anybody that has a programming audience.
Yeah.
This could potentially be something that their audience would be interested in. So you could, do the standard affiliate 50% commission, do a couple of these a month. And I think that actually has a decent chance of working.
Yep.
And producing like some steady income.
Yeah, definitely. I can also reach out to Quincy Larson over at Free Code Camp. They have a huge following.
Yes.
And see if I can line something up there.
Do you know him?
Yeah, we've had him on the show a couple times.
Okay.
We've chatted a few times. So.
Perfect. Yeah, I bet you could pack a webinar with him.
Yeah,
their
definitely.
audience. Whether they would buy anything or not, we'd have to find out. Because, but I did an email this week because I was reading a post from them a few weeks back, and the guy was like, "Oh man, I bought this awesome course on Udemy. It was totally worth the $10, unlike most tutorials." I'm like, good grief! Like if you can't get $10 worth of value out of pretty much anything,
yeah,
then the problem's not necessarily in the content. It's probably between your ears.
Yep.
But so you're doing the so for your audience then, are you going to do you have any thought on like a schedule or?
Yeah, so I need to start sending out emails. The only other thing that I need to send an email out for, and I'm trying to figure in the scheduling, is I told Joe, he's one of the panelists on JavaScript Jabber. I told Joe that I would send an email to the list about Framework Summit. We're doing basically a sponsorship exchange. So I'm going to send an email out to the list, or maybe a couple of emails out, and just, tell people about Framework Summit and let them know that I'm speaking at it. And then in return, I get sponsorship at the conference. So
okay, cool.
Then my logo goes up at the conference and stuff like that.
So I mean, that doesn't really stop you from doing your own email promotion.
No, but if I send an email out about that, I don't want to come right on the heels of that with my product. So
yeah,
I may do Framework Summit this week, and then see if I can get people onto a webinar in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much that goes on with email marketing and email promotion, in the sense that how warm is your list to this topic, to this idea that this might be coming?
The only emails my lists have been getting for a while is when there's a new episode.
Mm-hmm. So think about it like you can literally promote whatever the thing that you're promoting, but at the same time, you can send content emails that are just going to get the audience warmed up on this new thing that you're trying to do. You're not selling it, but you've got to it's almost like pre content that you've got to get it into their heads that, hey, this is an important idea. This is something which time has come. And then you get them, then you send a sales email. So sales email by itself isn't going to do much if the audience hasn't really, you haven't really prepared the audience for everything that's coming. So you can send non-sales emails, few non-sales emails, 2 to 3, maybe a blog post, maybe a video, or whatever you do. You send it, hey, this is coming, or not this is coming, but literally educating them about this idea, and then say, hey, by the way, I've decided to create a course on this, and here it is. Yeah. So it's not just about the fact that because you're selling this, you can't sell that. You've got to prepare mentally for this coming.
Yeah, I get that. The thing is I feel like I don't want to be sending emails about Framework Summit and about the course at the same time. So I want to just get the Framework Summit stuff out of the way this week.
Yeah.
And then next week, I can start sending content emails and getting people interested, and just mention the webinar here and there.
That's valid. I mean, you've got a month essentially.
Yeah.
To do this, right? So before your pre-sale is going to end on Labor Day, or
yes.
Okay. So you've got a month to do it. I would definitely start to step up the volume and maybe get it up to 2 or 3 emails a week. Because you want to send for the launch, you want to send one a day for at least one a day for some period of maybe a week or so.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna have you have a deadline for closing the pre-sale?
Yeah, Labor Day.
Okay, so that's perfect. So you actually have more time than you think, because Labor Day is so far out there. You can build a lot of pre-content.
Yeah, I can.
Before you do because you don't want to keep the pre-launch window open for a month either, because then people are not going to take action because it's so big.
Right.
That the sale window is so long that nobody cares. But if you build content and you keep on continuing to build the content and the education behind it, and then you open it for 2 weeks or a week period, so much easier to sell at that point.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Have you decided what you're doing for the course, like how you're delivering the course content on the back end?
Because Josh has this amazing software.
I'm just curious. I'm curious.
You're gonna pitch me on Podia or something?
No, I'm actually not. No, I'm not.
He's gonna double the revenues from the
yeah.
There
Chuck,
we go.
sign
He'll
up
be
for
able to
the,
buy 2 Big Macs.
yeah, if you sign up for the Podia, yes, I'll be able to get 2 value meals. So
No, so the plan is, and I've already set a lot of this stuff up, but I'm using Woocommerce on devchat.tv, and then I also installed WP courseware.
oh, I hate that. Yeah, okay. That was one of the ones I've tried and looked at. So I was curious what you were.
Yeah, I found a
using.
walkthrough on how to set it all up. I'm actually pretty happy with it. So I'm just going to run things through that. So when you buy the membership on WooCommerce, it just gives you access to the WP courseware.
I think that possibly my problem with it, I don't remember on that one specifically, but we had so many courses. Like, as I was looking at a lot of this stuff, I was like, man, this would be fine if you had like the one flagship course and that was really the main thing you sold. It would, like Brian Dean has his SEO That Works course. And as far as I know, like, I mean, it's all set up in, I think it's just set up with custom WordPress pages.
Right.
But it's not a big deal. But when you've got 10 courses that all have, you know, that some of which have like 100 videos, then it starts to get really, really painful to use any of those software platforms. So
yeah, I'm planning on doing other courses, and I'm planning on using the same setup. So, you know, or you putting them all on devchat.tv at this point. So
right.
So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, for now I just have the one course, right? And then go download the book. So
nice.
Yeah, I got to run soon and get these upsells going.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm going to get things warmed up there and then run things that way. I also found a plugin for WooCommerce that you can, when somebody buys something and it takes them to a thank you page, you can customize which thank you page they go to.
Oh yes, I've got that as well.
And so,
I love WooCommerce.
Yeah.
It's really nice. You can just like to be able to just get in there and hack anything you want into it it's just like so wonderful.
Yep. So that's something that I'm going to be banging out too. So I'm probably at this point, the thank you page is going to be an upsell to some affiliate deal. And so it'll be, hey, you know, I went through this Elixir course or React course or something, you know, so go get it. And I'm sorry, my UPS keeps going off. I don't know if you can hear
Well,
beeping.
why are you doing the thank you page like that? Why don't you just do an upsell, a traditional upsell?
Well,
Too
with an
much.
affiliate product, you can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to do.
I mean, I don't have another product.
Yeah, he could create another product, but right now he's got
can. I mean,
product
you
number one.
could have something like coaching or something.
Oh, that's true. I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is I could also just have a thank you page that's essentially, hey, have you checked out the podcast?
Not enough bang for the buck at that point, because you've already whittled down the number of buyers to so few that at that point, checking out the podcast is not really a bigger deal, because once they are buyers, you can always email them, say, hey, check out this free stuff.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal.
Right.
But at that point, you got them in a buying frenzy. You better deliver something that will be even more, you know, then they can buy it, not like, you know, chicken out of it.
Yeah, $1,000 coaching offer could not very many people would take that, but it would be
It's
if
huge.
a couple did, that would be worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. Sorry about the beeping. I'm serious. Can you hear it?
I think I'm hearing it now.
Okay.
It could be my kids though, so I don't even know. Shall we do thoughts?
Yep. Okay, so I'll start. And my thought is, one of my procrastination strategies is, commitment. And sometimes those commitments are extreme. And yesterday, I said to myself that until I do the recordings for the all the upsell courses and finish, I am not allowed to eat. So that way there's no procrastination on that.
There's a point at which that becomes counterproductive, but if you're close to the end, I think that's probably a good.
Well, yeah, it could become counterproductive if you cannot handle um, being in fasting mode. If you cannot handle yourself in fasting mode and you become completely useless, then it's another thing. But it's like the fine line between um, getting shit done versus also having that commitment that no matter what, I'll get it done. Right? It's very you can get into the phase where you have no energy to the point where you can't do anything good, and now you're like just floundering. But that's hopefully people are not doing that. But it's amazing how hunger will focus your mind. Like you literally stop dilly-dallying, you stop wasting your time, you stop doing all these different things that are not bringing you the same level of results as this one thing that needs to be done, right? I actually used to have this back maybe 6-7 months ago. I was like, okay, until I do a book summary for that day, I don't get to eat. So it was always like in the morning, wake up and do a summary before I get to eat again. So that was my highest value task, the most important task. So even if it took 4 hours, that was fine. But the food was always after the summary. And that kept me so honest, man. It was so awesome because it was always getting done. It was always getting done like a machine. Unfortunately, what happened yesterday, and not unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, this is still going on. So I haven't eaten since yesterday.
All right, Manny, just a warning. You may be heading into that danger zone where it's
Hey, John does like 2, 3, 5 days.
If we're talking on Friday and you still haven't eaten, then we might need to have an intervention.
Just FYI, it's a great hack.
Yeah.
It's pretty hardcore. Sometimes it is too much, but it is a hack. It is a strategy that works when you need to really get yourself focused.
Well, I kind of have been doing the same thing with, like, I've been wanting to get in the habit of reading my scriptures in the morning again. And so before I can do anything for work, I have to do that. Right. And so it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you got to make it a priority, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so many different ways you can create those like pre-commitments, these extreme commitments that force you to take action that you could easily avoid.
Yep. I've also been doing something similar. And this is something that I'm, maybe I'll just kind of piggyback on your thought with my thought. But one thing that I've been doing is I tend to procrastinate the things that I don't want to do until Friday. And like this last Friday, I wound up, so I set up a tea time so I could go golfing with my brother. And anyway, so we went over and we looked at my mom's house with my father-in-law and then went golfing. And then we went back to my mom's house to fix the garage door because my sister's 8 months pregnant. She's one of the ones that's moving in, right? So she has to be able to get in the house, especially when it's cold and she's, toting a carrier with a baby in it. And so, it turned out that all the stuff that I procrastinated didn't happen because something else came up. And so if you procrastinate it to the last minute and then you have something come up that you can't ignore, then you're kind of in a bad spot. So I actually was talking to my assistant this morning and I just looked at her and I said, look, I'm going to do all these things today, right? All the stuff that I'm now tempted to procrastinate till next Friday or to this Friday. No, it has to be done Monday. And then anything that bleeds over happens on Tuesday. And then once I have all that stuff done, then I can go do all the content stuff that I like to do. And, and that way I get all the stuff done that I need to. Because she's been waiting on a couple of things for a couple of weeks. Because I've been traveling and this and that. Anyway.
So I would like to hear next week how this goes in terms of executing on that procrastination or executing on killing that procrastination. Because one of the challenges with procrastination is that we have good intentions, but we can't make them happen in real life. So that's why we need strategies to make it happen in real life. So if I think I will send you the access to my course. Take a look. I think you'll get a lot out of it because of what you're telling me. Even if you apply 1 or 2 or 3 of those things, there's probably like 30 different strategies in there. It's crazy. But you apply 2 or 3 of them, you'll start to see momentum.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that's worth bringing up is that, you're saying, well, you implement 1 or 2 or 3 of the strategies, and that's the kicker, right? Is that not all of them are going to be effective for me, but I can try them out and I go, oh, this one really, like for you, right? Not eating, just so you can figure that out. And I think that's a really important thing for people to keep in mind too, right? Is that the process that one person uses isn't necessarily what you want for somebody else, or may not work for you. But yeah, the flip side is that you can manage all that stuff and figure out what works for you. So
exactly, that's why I give so many strategies. As I said, like there are 30 plus strategies, so no matter what you cannot handle the fasting mode, maybe there's something else that works for you. There's another strategy for this along the same lines is, if I don't get this done by 5 p.m. today, then I will pay you $100. Man, it works so good. I've seen this happen so many times. You tell your assistant, if I don't get this done today, I'll pay you $100. Boom, you are on the hook. You will deliver.
That do it.
Or you could hold your breath until
hold my breath until it's done.
Yeah,
that'd work.
Well, that's another way to kill yourself if you want.
Yeah, that's an accelerated version of Manny's fasting, I guess.
Yeah, it won't kill you, right? Because eventually you'll pass out and start breathing. But
that will 100x your productivity.
Yeah,
it's 10x, man.
No, this is
you'll
never
get that workout picking yourself up off the floor multiple times.
But those commitments, man, they are genius. They work.
True.
So try the $100 trick. It will trigger you. It'll force you to get shit done.
Yeah, another one that I've done is I find that I am putting things off by playing a game on my phone, and so I tell myself that I have to get to a certain point before I can play on my phone. Things like that. Anyway.
That works.
What I tell myself is I have to beat this level before I write that email.
Way to incentivize yourself, Josh. That'll increase your productivity a ton.
It's called inverse procrastination. Reverse procrastination.
So I think mine will be I've been listening to a new podcast recently with a guy named James Shrinko, and he's kind of like one of the lifestyle business type guru type guys, and he's designed one of his metrics for himself is, can I run my business from my smartphone? So he's got systems in place. Yeah, he's got systems in place to where, if he can't do something on his phone, that's a problem. So he's got to, he doesn't ever log into WordPress. He doesn't schedule emails for his list. Somebody else does that. So I've been thinking about this, and I'm making a list of things that I'm doing regularly that it's really just kind of a way of thinking about what should I be outsourcing, or, what should I be handing off to somebody else. And I really need to I think I'm at the point where I really need to get, I had my assistant, Aaron, who was amazing. He was doing a lot of this type of stuff for me, and he quit a while ago, and I haven't replaced him. I think I need to buckle down here soon and find somebody like him who's a real go-getter. It is a pain because you have to, as Chuck can attest, you have to kiss a lot of toads on that one. But
yeah,
I think it's time.
Here's my question about this whole idea. Like all these people who go and say, hey, James Schramko is one of them, and there's a bunch of other guys who get to the point where they're like, hey, I just want to surf, and maybe I want to work a little bit, and I still want to make $1 million, and it's totally possible, and they go and try to teach that. But what they don't tell you, or maybe they do, is the years leading up to the point where they got all of this figured out. Like it wasn't like a new guy can come in and say, hey, I'm going to do what James Schramko does. It's impossible. Right. You've got to go through the James Schramko path to get to where James Schramko is today. He talks so much. Like I remember back in the day, I used to listen to his Super Fast Business. Is it the same podcast?
Yeah.
Like that time, it was like he was working 100-hour days, man, 100-hour weeks. Like he was crazy. Now he's professing a different lifestyle. But I really wonder, like all the time when I hear especially there's another guy called in Newport, James Wedmore. Oh, these James guys, man. James Wedmore, he's like, oh, you don't need to work that hard. I'm telling you, I did that for so long, and now I realize it wasn't required, and this and that. And I'm like, dude, you worked that hard. You had to. You couldn't have come to this point without having to without walking that path. How this is, I feel pretty bad when they start to like.
I think that, I mean, I largely agree with you. I think there is some, you don't have to walk the path all the way. And so there is some truth to it that, if you, like there are always, there's ways to beat your head against the wall and not get anywhere. Yeah. And if you don't beat your head against the wall and not get anywhere, then you don't have to work as hard. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes it's hard to know which walls are worth beating on.
It can be.
Yeah. Cool.
All right.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Friday, actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Well, we can do a post-mortem on our promotion.
Hopefully it'll be a little bit better than Podio.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Josh from $8.70 earnings to $10 this time around.
Well, maybe you can 10x my earnings from this, and we'll get up to $88.
Man, if it's not at least 1,000x, we would be really disappointed.
Yep.
All right, guys. See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Want to start a business, but you just know how to code. Listen to John, Josh, and Derek as we figure it out. We are the EntreProgrammers, and we'll teach you straight up to be developers.